Thank you. Good morning, everybody. You know, if we will ask ourselves, what is the biggest breakthrough of the 20th century? And it's not that we got born. All of this room, I think, get born in the 20th century, and it's not the foundation of Israel. In the global aspect, what was there that was so special and relevant for today? And I think that since the history of humanity, all of us lives on a thin and tiny layer on the surface of planet Earth near a small sun in one of the galaxies out of many billions. And since the history of humanity, we never get out of this thin layer. And first time last century, we broke the ceiling. And we broke it with two meanings. One is Einstein and his friends thought about how we can invent nuclear power. You know, when we look at the sky, there are so many lights. Besides all the airplanes and the moon, all other lights are stars with nuclear fusion inside there. This is the most common energy in the universe, but it's not on Earth. So first time last century, we brought something that in the universe and not here, we brought it here. And in the other meaning, we brought astronauts that on the surface to the space. So the Earth is not the final frontier anymore. And when we brought the astronauts there, and by the way, Ilan Ramon was the first commander of myself in the Air Force, when we brought them there, we wanted to bring them back. Now, I don't know if you know, if we bring the spacecraft too deep, too steep, it can burn by atmosphere, and if we can bring it too flat, it can jump on the atmosphere like a stone jumping on the water. So NASA took a huge computer, squeezed it, put it in a spacecraft in order to calculate the angle to go into the atmosphere. And when the spacecraft landed, they took the computer, put it on a table, and that was the first personal computer. And then they connected to another computer, and that was intranet. And another one somewhere else, and then internet came to life. And they continued to squeeze the computer so that we get into the exponential era of digital, of AI, of information, because we wanted to put astronauts into space. Now, what happened is now that each year passed, all of us, I think all of us feel the same, that let's say a different way. Many years ago, somebody asked me, when was the last time you did something first time in your life? When was the last time in your life that you did something first time in your life? When we are kids and babies, it's actually almost every day, every week. And then we became older, adult, and the frequency get lower and lower. And actually, we coming into an asymptotic curve. In the same time, the world is going into exponential curve. So it's a huge paradox. And what I would like to say, this is my first insight, that we need to make our life more exponential. I'm asking you all to do more first things in your life tomorrow, next week, to get the brain more fresh every time. And in the same time, to understand the mega trends of the world and to predict what will happen. So what will happen this century? What is going to be the biggest breakthrough of the 21st century? In my eyes, we are going for the first time to break the ceiling of something else, not Earth, to break the ceiling of the human being capabilities. This is the first time This is the first time, and I call it Humanity 2.0, that we're going to change the version of the species, of what is human. And it's not because of what we are doing. This is what's going to happen in the world, and we should not be surprised by that. And this megatrend is also going to happen in two meanings. One is all the robots, everywhere is going to be a lot of robots and a lot of AI. Every home will have a robot. Every car will be driven by a robot. Every school have a robot. Every street there is a robot. And also the smartphone is going to be like Siri, talking to us. And each of those robots is going to be more humanoid. So in one meaning, we're going to take technology and make it more like a human. And in the other meaning, we're going to take human and enhance what human can do. We're going by technology to enhance human capabilities, to hack into the human itself. And this is, we spoke today about cyber, I think before the break. Cyber and cybersecurity, computers, network, AI, all of that, I called it dry cyber. It's computers. But our body, all the neurons inside, it's a cyber system. And all the immune system, it's a cyber system. And all the bacteria in our body, talking with each other, it's also cyber. So in ourselves, there is wet cyber. It's also cyber. By the way, we have few human cells, but we have much more bacteria. Each of us is an ecosystem. It's not one creature. It's an ecosystem. And this ecosystem, human 1.0, is going to be connected to the cloud. Humanity 2.0. This wet cyber is going to be connected to the dry cyber. And this is a point in the history, in our future, that it's very scary. I can say it's like a junction. First time, actually the first time was maybe the nuclear weapon. But now it's a much more accelerated first time between that the humanity can destroy itself or can repair everything in the world to make the world a better place. It's a junction between tikkun olam and kilkul olam. It's a junction that we must not risk too much. We have only one chance. And the reason why we accelerate into this junction is because of the technology race. I think everybody knows the military race, and later on the space race. Now, there are two superpowers in the world that are going into technology race. It's not Cold War, it's not World War, like with guns, but it's a different kind of competition. It's a fuzzy war with cyber. And everybody from this superpower, United States and China, would like to lead the world. And all of those giant companies would like to lead the world. And they invest so much money there. That's why it's going to accelerate. So there are race beyond mobile technology, artificial intelligence, of course, and cyber, but there is quantum computing, of course. I am not going to talk about all of that. But one domain is relevant for us, very relevant. In my eyes, there are going to be a new race above cognitive enhancement. How we can take technology and enhance the human cognition by technology, not by senses, not by training, not by education, to hack into biology. So currently, most of the money spent on curing diseases. It's also kind of hacking into the human body. And some very classified project is in the military going into how to make better soldiers. But when this super high-tech science fiction technology will be more commodity, it will come everywhere. And maybe this generation, the babies that are born now, are the last generation of, it's called bio babies. Next one is going to be biotech babies. It sounds crazy, but all of us have now mobile phone on them, I think, or connected somewhere to the Wi-Fi, to the internet, all of the people here. In a few years, all of us will be connected to the cloud with something embedded inside the body. So cognitive enhancement, to boost our brain power, it's not like 2% to be 2% better, talking about IQ or EQ. It's 200% better, multiple by 10. We are going to be exponential by ourselves. So there are, from left to right, and this is not political statement, okay, there are going to be labs for design babies, to genetic engineering how to make babies that are more smart. And even though we don't like it, and we think it's risky, other places in the world it can happen, and it will happen. But this is behind the corner. It's not really today. What is today is the other point, neuroplasticity. I don't know how many knows this term. When a baby born in a very young age, there is a window of opportunity that his brain is wiring itself. And we can do so many things with very young kids and young babies. I never say it on the stage, but I can say it now. You know, I'm 44 years old, married with 4 kids. One of our kids, we noticed that when he was half a year old, something is wrong there. I took him to the balcony at night. There was a car with the noise of a car, with the light of the car, and I point on the car, and he was like somewhere else, without any attention with me, any attention to the light, to the noise. And I was crying as a father, what's going on? And we went to all the experts in Israel, and everybody told us, there is a serious problem with this kid, and he will be never independent adult. We don't know exactly what is the problem, and we didn't like those experts, and we start to do 8 treatments every week with a case manager for a year, from the year 1 to 2 years old. So, and he's now, today, he's an excellent kid. He's great, unbelievable. The brain can fix itself when we're very young. We not leverage this window of opportunity enough, I think. We should do that more. The other stuff is closed-loop education. You know, when you give water to a flower with a sprinkle, it's not efficient. So we have a taftefet, irrigation, smart irrigation, to give to the root of the flower. what it needs. And now we have also sensor to see that the root has enough water. With AI to say, why shouldn't we do that with education? We never did closed-loop performance with education. Today we know by neuroscience to check if the neurons get the signals they need, the knowledge they need. And I think that in every school is going to be virtual reality. Not just videos, but a new media of VR, because it's fantastic. So on those VR, we can put sensor of EEG to check if the neurons get what we wanted them to get. It's going to be, our education is going to be like in the Air Force, much more efficient, closed loop, personalized. The other stuff, we are going to Google everything just by thinking. Imagine that you have capabilities to go to Google just by thinking. There is helmet, non-invasive helmet today that can do that, but later on Elon Musk is going to put in our brain electrodes. Next year is the clinical trials, the first one. And there are going to be many companies like that, and it's going to be technology race about that. And the last thing, I think that every billionaire in the world above the age of 70 wants to invest in longevity, or he forgot that he wants to invest in longevity. There's going to be so much money there to stop dementia. Education and training is not just for kids. It's for adults and senior people. Actually, this is the biggest market. If you want people to live till 200 years old, we just need to fix the brain. So, yesterday there was election. I think a small country like Israel, we need to understand that we need to build strategy to boost our brain power. This is what's going to happen in the world. We need to put our brain into this thing. It will give us a lot of benefits in the military race, economic race. Our kids will be much better. And also one last thing, I don't see here in this room a lot of Orthodox people, ultra-Orthodox people. We need to find more projects between secular and ultra-Orthodox people in order to live in the Middle East. And I spoke with so many rabbis. They like cognitive enhancement because in their eyes, the student will be much better in the Torah. So let's do together cognitive enhancement as a strategy for this country. Thank you.